At first, there's nothing, just a trail. But this one is different. It's big. And then, when I finally see the shark, I realized this isn't a small shark. These days, I'm finding more sharks of this size, closer to shore. I followed this shark for miles, and it never broke that line. It went straight down the coast. When you think of adult white sharks, you don't usually picture them this close to shore. But the more I observe, the more a pattern starts to emerge, especially this year. And when I began seeing these big ones along some of the busiest stretch of coastline here in Southern California, it definitely raised some eyebrows. Now, these are full-grown sharks, and they're moving with some purpose. This is a large white shark I filmed at one of LA's most popular surf spots. It's cruising north, and like many I've observed, it doesn't linger, it just passes. Subtle passes from animals this size, this close to shore. Past surfers, past traffic, like everything else around them didn't exist. For many, this is too close for comfort. As this shark continued north, it came even closer to the beach. The same beach where I filmed countless juvenile white sharks right near the shore, and where swimmers pass every day, often without knowing. But notice the difference, the slender shape, the smaller proportions of a young white shark. Compare that to the size and mass of these larger ones that pass through. These are fully grown white sharks, and they are built differently. And yet, they're just as stealthy. The scars on these sharks suggest past encounters, possibly even mating. Clear signs of maturity. Overall, these observations are a reminder. Smaller white sharks tend to stay longer, but larger sharks do pass through, likely more often than we realize.
This year, there's been a big uptick in sharks.
Carlos Gauna shoots drone videos of sharks at SoCal beaches, and right now, he says they're not hard to find.
So what are you doing right now? Launching the drone, and just gonna do a quick scout here.
We watched him search the waters off Pacific Palisades, and in just a few minutes...
Look at that. A white shark 150 yards offshore.
Why are these sharks here? It's clear they use this area frequently. But this year, there's been an uptick in the amount of both juvenile and adult white sharks that I'm seeing. Most people think of the Santa Monica Bay area as a nursery. And for the most part, that's true. There's a lot of juvenile white sharks near our coast. Younger sharks spend time here, learning, exploring, and it's ideal for them. The water is generally warmer. There is prey abundance. In fact, bat rays are a favorite of these young sharks, and there are plenty of those here. But around humans, these young sharks are often more interested in their surroundings than anything else. Just watch how this shark is distracted by floating debris right next to the surfers. Usually, they just ignore surfers or anything around them for the most part. Even birds. But that's only part of the picture. This stretch of coastline has built a reputation as a nursery. The juvenile white sharks do stay longer, but while these younger sharks are staying, The adults are often just passing through. White sharks of all sizes move through here, and one of the clearest ways to tell the difference is in their proportions. The width of the body, the thickness through the midsection, the scale of the head. Larger sharks, especially females, often carry scars as well from mating and encounters with other animals. This is a shark tagged by Dr. Greg Scommel while I was in Cape Cod. This male is roughly 14 to 15 feet long. Even here you can see its proportions. Now compare that to a shark I filmed recently along our coastline. The width of the body, the thickness through the midsection, and the scale of the head. Next to a juvenile filmed in the same area, the difference becomes obvious. After spending thousands of hours filming these animals, you begin to recognize those differences immediately. For comparison, this is an 18-foot white shark I filmed while at Guadalupe Island. Notice the scars, the size of the head, the overall mass. And from above, you can clearly see that it is the same thickness. It's got that same build. So when you see sharks like this moving along our coastline, it becomes clear these aren't young sharks staying close to shore. These are fully grown animals moving through some of the same water. And they are still wild animals, powerful, unpredictable. Now, most of the time they move through without incident, but that doesn't mean the risk isn't there. I've been seeing more of these larger sharks earlier in the year than I normally do. In most years, I don't typically come across adult white sharks near shore until well into the summer. But this year, it's been different. Just about every week, I've been encountering sharks of this size. Now, it's often said that the larger sharks tend to stay further offshore, but what I've been observing out here doesn't always line up with that. We're somewhat limited by the tag data that's out there by the science, and that kind of blinds us a little bit to the sharks that are not tagged. And while it's hard to point out one exact reason why these big sharks are here, there are a few factors that could be playing a role. Number one is water temperatures, which have been noticeably warmer across Southern California this year, and more broadly, the Eastern Pacific. There could also be changes in prey movement and the overall conditions of our coastline. And when those things start to line up, you can start seeing shifts in when and where these sharks show up, especially the big ones. It's not necessarily something new, but something we're getting a clearer look at now because of technology. So I want to show you a few of the largest sharks I've filmed near shore. And if you're interested in seeing more of what's happening along this coastline, consider subscribing. I'll continue documenting it as it unfolds. And in some cases, it leads to moments like this. Almost immediately upon finding this shark, its size and girth stood out. One of the first questions is whether it's male or female. The only way to know is to look for the claspers, and sometimes you get lucky. As this shark rolls slightly, you get a glimpse of the pelvic fins. No visible claspers, which suggests that this is a female. From above, the width of this shark is unmistakable. This is likely a mature white shark, somewhere in the 17 to 18 foot range. As I followed her, she moved through a small kelp bed, something I've been seeing more often. Here's another large shark. Notice the width, the overall mass. Some of the experts I've shared this with believe she may even be pregnant. But then there's this one, another shark likely in that same size range. Again, the proportions tell the story. In this clip, look at the difference between a roughly 7-foot white shark and a fully grown adult. The overhead comparison really shows just how much larger these sharks can be. And then there's this one. This is likely the largest I've seen so far. In my estimation, this shark is somewhere in the 18 to 19 foot range. Her proportions are strikingly similar to the 18-foot female I filmed in Mexico. As I look back at what I've observed so far, the more time I spend out here, the more this pattern starts to stand out. I've come to realize that this area isn't just a nursery, it's also a passage, a place where younger sharks spend time, learning, growing, while larger sharks are often moving through, quietly and consistently, often without being noticed at all. And what we're starting to see more clearly is that this may not be something new, just something we're now able to observe in a different way. And maybe that's the bigger takeaway, that it's not just the ocean that has changed, it's also how we're able to see it. Thanks for watching.